Good evening, and welcome to Going for Two. This is the only YouTube podcast in human recorded history to feature a male and female host drinking our way through the important topics of the day, as long as they touch the football world, and not in that way. I am Zach Law, and this is Sharona, and her camera only slightly looks like it's from the 1930s.
Well, I keep telling you if we use the other camera, it'll be a lot better, but we never do. So, anyway.
It's your camera. Use what you do.
I don't know why it's like that. I still haven't figured that out. It's very annoying.
I agree, much like me in planning.
So we're don't even get me started.
Good. Well, we might have to because half my notes are about a guest who's probably not going to be here. We're recording on January 18th, 2016. So how are you doing, Sharona? Do you think you can focus on sports and me for an hour because the world is a bit chaotic right now? And what do you have beverage-wise?
I'm drinking beer because, I drink beer with my buddy Zach on Wednesday nights, usually. And this is the one that I had last week. It's a Golden Monkey. It's an ale with spice, with added spice. I don't know what exactly that means, but it's pretty tasty. I like it.
I think that's a triple, and I believe
it's a triple.
I heard they have a sour monkey out. It's like a sour version of that. Of course, I'll try anything sour.
Yes, you will.
Yeah, so...
And we do mean anything.
To be ready for this week. Now, last week, and I don't even know if I said this in the show, I was like, all right, I got a beer budget for the month. I'm only buying 6 packs, and I did that. And then on Tuesday, I get my oil change. And it's right next to my oil change place, Total Wine. And there are 2 locations in town, and this one has other stuff. And I see 3 cases of this glorious double brown throwdown just sitting there. And I'm like, who's got a birthday coming up? This guy. So I did a little advance on my birthday.
Now, when is your birthday again?
Next Thursday. And
that's the Nashville thing. Okay.
Correct. And I bought, this is a special beer, very special.
I can't see it. There's a glare.
Prairie Artisan Ales.
Okay, there it goes.
I'm covering it, aren't I? Like this? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's better. Look at that. Oh, I'm a star. Prairie has a beer called Prairie Bomb. This is the Christmas Bomb, Imperial Stout with spices added. And I bought 2, and 1 is for tonight. So that's what I'll have in a little bit. It's like Christmas in January, which is what my birthday's like. Even though my birthday's 31, 32 days after Christmas, I usually got the normal amount of presents. But, having 2 major gift times so close to each other is a pain. Now, we were going to have Scott Fish on, but apparently he forgot what time our show's on. He's drinking beer in Minnesota, and maybe he heard that one of the topics I was thinking of talking about was worst playoff defeats and the fact that the Falcons are in the NFC Championship game and they once beat his Vikings. That could be it. But we'll probably have him back. I think next Wednesday would be a good time for a show since I'm heading out of town on Thursday. So we'll get back. We're not done with you, Scott.
See if we can get Scott on.
720 Scott Fish Bowl. I really thought he'd go a little higher next year. Just 60 divisions next year. That's nothing. So we had, after Saturday, it looked like we were in for another weekend of boring playoffs. That the games weren't that great. And then on Sunday, like 2 months earlier, my wife had bought tickets to see Bernie Sanders talk. So I didn't even get to see either of the games. And let's just say one of the games almost got spoiled. But I managed to come home at like 9 o'clock on Sunday, try to zoom through both those games and watch poor Dallas lose. I don't know if that was more or less heartbreaking than the 2 Titans home playoff losses, but it was pretty rough. And then Kansas City, sometimes you know what to expect. In a 20-year period, they get Schottenheimer, and then they get Andy Reid, 2 of the just don't know what to do in the playoffs coaches of history.
Andy Reid definitely going to Andy Reid.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, you're losing by 8 with like 8 minutes to go. And they went for 4th down like at the 40 with like 7 minutes to go, and they scored a touchdown with like 3 minutes to go, and they had 1 timeout left. So they're basically, okay, we have to stop them.
Does not know what to do with his timeouts. I mean, he needs someone to do that for him.
I think he called one on 4th down, but the clock had stopped. But yeah, those timeouts are really, really critical. And time, how to use your time kind of ruined both teams. I always thought Jason Garrett seemed like everybody thought he was like not ready for prime time. Then like 2 years he got the Cowboys to the playoffs, and this year I was like, he could do something to screw things up. And then he did that spike just a little early with Dak, and they kicked the field goal. I mean, you can tell like the value of field goals now and like how kickers make it from 50 yards like it's from 30, because all 3 of those field goals were good by like 15 yards at the end. And poor Jen, apparently she ate a whole roll of Tums the next day from all the breakfast sandwiches she had to eat to overcome the alcohol consumption on Sunday.
Sorry, Jen. But, the future's bright. You've got there's a lot of talent on that team, and, you just have to be – I know she's sad because Tony Romo is unlikely to be a Cowboy next year, and
Tony Romo.
With the insane contract that he has, and but Dak was impressive this year, and they've got a lot of talent on that team, some young talent, and I think the future's bright. So yeah,
I think it took them, and this is an advantage that like the wild card teams have, is that they're hot, and the Packers were hot, and it didn't seem like Dallas realized that Green Bay's defense is almost non-existent until like the middle of the second quarter, and then they finally go, okay. About the time my entire Twitter feed probably was going, put in Romo, then the next drive, Dak, drove them down. And I mean, so
I knew that was that whole thing was going to be unbearable, and so I opted out of Twitter for the weekend and didn't really pay attention. I was on Twitter today, but I'm not on social media much anymore.
Well, here's what amazed me most about that last throw by Rodgers. It wasn't Rodgers completing like a 32-yard strike on 3rd and 20. It was the fact that Jared Cook caught the pass. Jared Cook was like clutch. And you know what that means? That means Aaron Rodgers is so good he overcame Jared Cook. He makes Jared Cook forget that he doesn't know how to catch the football. And it sounds like Devontae Adams is hurt.
Yeah, there are their wide receivers
isn't playing. They got some like practice squad. They might actually get the guy who's still in my dynasty team, and I'll have to ask Scott Fish about him. Jeff Janis might actually get on the field. You notice Janis, no matter what happens, he's just, except for that Cardinals game last year, they just cannot get him on the field except for like special teams. But yeah, Green Bay. When I moved to Atlanta, I think they had been in one NFC Championship game ever. Or I may have seen the first one they were in, the one against the Vikings. I think it was the first time they've ever been there. So since Matt Ryan's been their quarterback, they've hosted 2 NFC Championship games. And you're like, what? That's like 3 years for the Patriots? Well, that's 2 more than the Titans ever had. And so they have a shot to come through. I just hope it doesn't go like the one against the 49ers a few years ago, because they were up 24-7 and then blew it. And then there was a kind of questionable call at the end. But they don't call those penalties unless it's against the Steelers. Then they call.
For a while, Colin Kaepernick kind of had the Packers' number, right? You win like 2 playoff games against them or something?
Yeah, the Packers, like defensive coordinator, didn't realize that Colin Kaepernick could run.
Read option.
So I think he was always man coverage, and Kaepernick would just take off.
They didn't plan for the read option. I mean, it still amazes me that Dom Capers is still there.
Dom Capers like $10 million probably.
Yeah, no doubt.
I don't think he'd still be in NFL otherwise. But I was kind of wondering, on Sunday, would we have that home team heartbreak? But then Dallas loses, and that was a tough one. I mean, I'm still like, my parents bought me a long sleeve T-shirt that commemorated the Packers-Titans game, and the Titans beat the Packers by 22. And I'm probably gonna have to wear this shirt for the rest of the playoffs. So I'm like, hey, the Titans could beat the Super Bowl champs. When's that happened? In the last like 20 years. So, yeah, maybe that's where my rooting will go.
Yeah, I said that I felt like the winner of the Cowboys-Packers game would face the Patriots in the Super Bowl. We'll see, but yeah, um,
I mean, I felt a
it's
little.
pretty amazing what the Packers have done, since that game. I mean, losing to the Titans may have sparked the fire that got them to the Super Bowl. They may owe the Titans
Well,
and like Malarkey a ring or
I
something.
think
I
it
don't know.
was the following week they got crushed by Washington on Sunday night, and I'm pretty sure I benched Roberto Kelly that week, and he had like 50 fantasy points. I'm just gonna pour this sucker live on
Okay,
camera.
please do. Yes, lovely.
Dude,
We, I
someday
guess,
we'll be at your.
we need to give a shout out to Murph, who's apparently he is watching the show and said someday Andy Reid will
Hmm.
realize that you need timeouts to win, and that a bye week doesn't mean a week off. Yeah, Andy Reid. I mean, the success is undeniable, but never trust Andy Reid in the playoffs, baby. I just, and it's funny because everybody's kind of, poor Alex Smith. I feel sorry for Alex Smith, who can never get any respect, and everybody's kind of blaming him. And I've seen more than one Tony Romo to the Chiefs
Hmm.
thing. And so, anyway,
Yeah, I
whatever.
don't know. It seems like the way Dallas is
Listen,
kind of over the barrel of their cap
listen.
situation. I'm not sure if they'll be able to get much from in trade, but hey, something.
And it's pretty amazing because I retweet. Well, let me see, let me find it. I forget who it was that did it. Hold on just a second. I retweeted it, and who was it? La 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 la. Oh, Curtis Patrick. Said Tony. He went back and looked at the numbers and said he has thrown 86 passes in a football game, 86 total passes in the past 736 days. That's pretty not very good. And, I mean, his back is rickety. And, I mean, you respect what Tony Romo has accomplished in the league. But I've said it before, and I guess I'll say it again. I think it's time for him to hang up the cleats.
Yeah, it might be a good time for him to do that. And it might be a good time for me to look at a beer and see if it has the ingredient cinnamon. Most likely it's going to taste to me like Fireball, and I had a bad experience with Fireball with my cousin, and that just
Oh,
doesn't quite work.
is
I
that just?
know that other people would love this, but it's just like on the nose cinnamon. You're like, whoa, baby.
Oh, see, I like cinnamon.
I should say it for you for the beer stash that someday will be delivered to your secret lair.
Can we tell the story? I mean, because I was actually planning on coming to Nashville. I told Zach to send me the information, which he finally did today. And so I was like, so when should I come? What day would be good? And it's like, well, we're doing this day and we're doing that day. So really, it's probably not a good time. I'm like, why do you even? I mean, it's
Well,
so impossible to plan anything with you.
I don't remember saying it wasn't a good time. It's just that, yeah, Friday afternoon, Friday dinner, pretty open. So go for it.
Okay.
But I will
Okay.
say that sometimes you plan things in advance, and then when it actually gets down to it, you're like, oh, what are we actually doing? I don't know. So, yeah, once that happens, then we'll share. And if it doesn't work, well, I'm pretty sure I'll be in Nashville another time. So I owe beer, and a law is like a Lannister. We always pay our beer debts. So that's going to happen. What do you think? Final four? I feel like, well, let's hear what Sharona has to say. I always blab too much on this show. You're like, it's over
No.
my head.
You
I want to
laugh?
hear what you have to say about if you want to go AFC, NFC, whatever, go for it.
I'm sorry, what is the
The
question?
AFC and NFC championship games, who do you like in those games?
Okay, so the final four is Patriots, Steelers, Packers, and Falcons. And I think I already said it. I think it's going to be Packers and Patriots in the Super Bowl, which is before the playoffs even started. What? I said that it would be the winner of the Green Bay Dallas game, and I thought the AFC was the Patriots to lose, and so I mean that would be my my prediction. It's interesting. Of course, I follow my timeline is kind of a diverse cross section of fans and fandom, and it's interesting to me. And I don't pay attention to Skip Bayless at all, but apparently he said that Mike Tomlin was an elite coach, and I mean I think Mike Tomlin, the success there is pretty undeniable as well. And but people took issue with that, and I guess Mike Tomlin's not a good coach. I don't know. I don't know what's up with that. And I know all the brouhaha over Antonio Brown. And let me list a couple of things that I, Sharona, personally do not care about. Antonio Brown and whatever nonsense he did on Facebook, which it appears violated NFL rules and he should be punished. And okay. And the whole future Russell Wilson Sierra bullshit that filled my Twitter and that sent me off of Twitter because it was stupid nonsense that I did not give one shit about. All right. Now I feel better.
Yeah, I didn't pay much attention. I just heard there was some post-game speech that Tomlin gave where he called the Patriots assholes or something, and I don't know if I mean, who even Patriots fans would be like, yeah, what kind of asshole? I mean, that's one thing about the matchups is that I could throw Packers fans in there probably too. Patriots and Steelers fans, you're gonna have the biggest asshole entitled fans in the world, and some of the greatest fans.
Let's not have who are the biggest asshole fans conversation tonight. I'm having a good day. I was on the Twitters today. Since I'm so seldom on social media, I kind of like to get a good punch in, and so I was kind of on it today, and just don't want to have that conversation tonight. There's good and bad in everything.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't trying to be too hard on one particular fan base because I think there are fans who like Marcus Mariota has a bad game and they're like, they should trade for the guy from North Carolina and get rid of him. It's so weird, like a recycled story. Like 2 years ago, it was, the Chargers are going to trade Phillip Rivers to the Titans for that pick for Mariota. And now it's like, the Chargers are going to trade like Phillip Rivers to the 49ers for their number 2 pick. And just, come on, people. These things get over. The assholes who you think should get going and rock and never come back, as opposed to the assholes who are just over obnoxious about their team and aren't necessarily bad people otherwise, but for some reason when it comes to football they just can't shut up.
We can all be obnoxious about our teams. Listen, I can remember what game I said of course I went to school at Tennessee and I can be obnoxious about Tennessee sports, and of course not right now because it's a hot mess and just a clusterfuck of awfulness. But, listen, if you're Bama and the Patriots and, some of these other, sports dynasties that have the, kahunas to back it up, you can be obnoxious. But what I don't like is when they're obnoxious about stupid stuff like not like Patriots fans not getting enough respect. Please, come on.
Yeah, or
miss me with that. But no, when you have a lot of success, you get to trash talk, and that's part of the fun to me of sports. And unfortunately, my teams haven't been that good enough for me to do it. So
that's true. I mean, if someone who's a Patriots fan, like in 1990, they know suffering and they know what's going to happen when Belichick retires. But just think about the possibility that both the Patriots and the Steelers are going for their 9th Super Bowl, which would set the record for most Super Bowls. Tom Brady will have started in 7 of them. That means Tom Brady will have started in like more Super Bowls than like 28 of the 32 NFL teams.
That's amazing.
Kind of nuts for his career, like 16 seasons. And
The
he got
longevity
injured in
there is
one,
pretty
and the one
amazing.
that didn't make the playoffs, and pretty much the rest of them, they've been in the. I think they've lost outside of the AFC Championship game once.
Well, they went 11-5 that year, right? And missed the playoffs. That was the Matt Castle season, right?
That's right. Titans own, re-sign him.
Oh, yeah, don't get me started because you know that my
This is why
everlasting
you're here,
memory.
is to get
This
started.
is my everlasting memory of Matt Castle as a Titan is throwing a pick six and like his second play under scrimming, whatever, you know. Anyway, but yeah, no. I mean, Bill Belichick, and I have said this before. I'll say it again. I think he's not the greatest coach of our generation. To me, I think he's the greatest coach ever.
And he's probably a guy who you could throw in anywhere, and he'd probably do just fine any time
He didn't
period.
do well with the Browns, but I think what you have to respect. There are a lot of things that you have to respect about Bill Belichick, and I don't want to get into all the, the cheating stuff and all of that. But what you have to respect, to me, you have to respect the most is the preparation. He, I think, prepares his team like no other coach. And I'm sure that there have been games, I can't call them to memory, but I can't remember a game where the Patriots haven't been prepared. Now, they've lost not very many games, but um, it's not usually due to lack of preparation.
Yeah, and even the year that the Broncos had that crazy offense, and they ended up beating the Patriots by like 10, but it seemed like they were about to blow them out, and it was like, no,
Yeah.
the Patriots rarely lose in the playoffs. I mean, I bet in these 16 years they've been to the AFC Championship game like 12 times. They're really close to having numbers that no one can touch. And after, it was odd because they won 3 out of 4 Super Bowls, then they went like 11 years between, and they had that comeback against Seattle that everybody hated except for all of the Patriots fans.
Well, listen, in the fight between who's the most obnoxious, Seattle fans or Patriot fans, that's pretty close. Did you see, by the way, the news? The Seattle Seahawks signed your favorite, Parrish Cox.
What was it?
Oh, mate, he's my favorite. I forget.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll be on the Women's March on Washington coming up this weekend. So was it like some kind of futures contract? That's what's changed about the NFL that kind of confuses me is
I don't know.
It used to be like futures contracts were totally for on the edge guys.
Mm-hmm.
And now you see guys who are drafted in the second round like 2 years ago because they've changed the rules. Like the practice squad is a little more open. So guys that you think, wait, this guy's like on an NFL roster. And you're like, nope, he's on a futures contract. Okay. Because it's a tough game there in the NFL.
Yeah, that's something I need to look at. I don't fully understand those new rules either. I thought that was an odd move. Yeah, I know that they lost one of their young guys to an ACL, but there's still plenty of time. It was an odd move to me, but hey, they're not my team, so good luck with that, Seattle.
Odds of him making the team, next year. It seems they lost a couple players. I felt bad for poor Russell Wilson. Like he gets stepped on by like a backup guard. And
their offensive line.
The picture of him head first with his feet straight up in the air, like about to get sacked for safety. What a difference in the game, though, because I thought Devin Hester was, not quite Mariani, because Mariani barely ever did it, and Hester was great for about a decade as a kick returner, but he had been cut by, I think, a couple teams this year, and he actually looked good because he was a Falcon and made some plays, and then there was a penalty, and that was kind of the end of that for him.
He was fresh. Your regular reminder that Floyd Reese was on the phone with Devin Hester to draft him back in the day when Jeff Fisher pulled rank and drafted Lindell White over Devin Hester. So your little bit of Titans trivia for the evening.
I still try to wonder what the Titans would have been like that year when they kept LeGarrette Blount, but then cut him for a special teams like linebacker.
Tried to sneak him on the.
If they had him instead of Lindell, I think it would have been better. if not as good. He had a 1,000-yard season. I don't know if it was 2008 or 2009, but I think it was that year that the Titans are really good.
Yeah.
And I'd say he's fading, but he
It had to
led
be
the NFL in
2008 because they
touchdowns this
weren't
year. Oh my
good in
gosh!
2009.
LeGarrette Blount, of all things.
Yeah. I
So when
mean,
it comes to, we had a change this weekend because, and it was odd as someone who lived in Kansas City, the whole concept of like they moved the game from 1 till 8 because of the weather. I'm like,
yes.
isn't it going to get colder? If it wasn't for a holiday on Monday, it probably would have been a pain for a lot of people to have a super late Sunday night game. But the NFL, I feel like, has been leaning this way for a while. Like this week's games are at 3 and 6:40, and I feel like they were 1 and 4:30 like 5 years ago. So do you like these later starts? I mean, especially since some people have to work the next day.
I don't. Well, on the weekends, it's okay to me. I don't like them through the week. But no, I don't mind them on the weekend. I mean, it's hard because you've got you're dealing with competing interests, I suppose is the best way to put it. And you've got families with kids, and maybe they've got stuff during the day that they need to do, and maybe it's a little easier to do it at night. And then you've got so it's a balancing act, and I don't mind the late games on the weekend. In fact, I probably prefer them. But
Well,
they don't ask me. They should put me on that committee.
When they do the Saturday Sunday double feature, it seems fine, but because the late game on Sunday is probably close to 11 o'clock, I'm sure. Because football games are 4 hours now, especially in the playoffs and the Super Bowl.
Oh, did you see the thing about the commercials that who was it that is trying to get of all the NFL owners, and they really pooped the bed badly on the Ray Rice thing. But of all the NFL owners, I really am starting to develop a fondness for the Baltimore Ravens owner, and he came out and said that he's really going to try to get the league to deal with the incessant commercials that you deal with. And somebody said that means that they would make less money. No, I mean they could certainly do the contracts to where there's not a loss of revenue, I'm sure. And how much is enough? I mean,
yeah,
I think this country is about to find out how much is enough, because we're about to see what greed is really, really like.
The myth of perpetual growth. Well, I mean, they have like soccer games are on. And you know what they do during soccer games? They put like ads on the top of the screen or on the bottom of the screen, and then the little side of the field, they have ads that keep flipping over. They could do that at the NFL because they showed, I think it was Super Bowl I.
They could do something.
Super Bowl I took 2 hours and 37 minutes. And I think the cost of a commercial was like $10,000. And by the way, a commercial this year is $5 million. A 30-second commercial. And then what was the other thing? Oh, it was like the top ticket at the first Super Bowl is $12. $1,200 maybe for this one. We'll see. Although there was like a little poll, and they asked like how much fans would pay for their team to play in a championship game, and they were saying like $500, and I was still like, I don't know if the Titans got in the AFC Championship game. First of all, it's never happened before, but I don't know. It might be just fine on TV. And that's kind of why I was okay with,
It's happened before?
I'm going to, they never hosted the AFC Championship game.
Oh, okay.
They've been in it.
Okay. You said in it.
was hosted an AFC Championship game.
You didn't say hosted, you said in it, I thought.
San Diego was probably hosted one. Oh, let's do this. We're going to do
the
early.
LA Chargers, baby. Let's talk about greed. Can we? Let's talk about douchebags.
So early hashtag over it or not.
Okay. Sorry.
And I only had to skip one that I already talked about. No longer San Diego Chargers and the myth of owners giving a shit.
Well, I'm over. I'm over collective corporate greed. So let's get that one out of the way. It was amazing to me to watch how both of these, and it's not over, I mean, it's gonna, we'll see what happens in the future. More teams, I think, are going to be uprooted and moved. That the league is intent on having a presence in Mexico and London, and so we'll see what team gets snatched away from its American roots. Next, the NFL does not give a shit about its fans. If you think that, you are fooling yourself. So, but what was amazing to me was to watch the bullshit rhetoric that came out of Roger Goodell's mouth about the two respective moves to LA. The first being the Rams, and the second being, of course, the Chargers. And, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I was hoping that it was a sign that cities won't be held over a barrel for stadium deals in the future, because it was basically it was a vote for like $1.5 billion, and it was
ridiculous.
It was a hotel tax, but it was basically free money for rich guys who make. We don't know much NFL. I don't know if they even have to tell you how much money they make.
Only the Packers books are open.
All the people who talk crap about how much they hate socialism. What's the NFL? Socialism. You know why socialism's accepted in the NFL in America? It's when it's capitalism, when there's no chance of them losing money, basically. But the owner of the team's been there like 50 years, and it really seemed like he had. I mean, the St. Louis move seemed very premeditated and like it had been planned out. But the San Diego one was kind of like either they didn't try to keep the team in the city, or they just were like, because they're playing in like an MLS stadium for the next 2 years.
There were multiple attempts to work out to do a ballot initiative. It would get boiled down to the city not wanting the taxpayers to foot the major portion of things. And here, this is, I'm going to try to say this the best way that I possibly can. What I think one of the most troubling trends that I see hello. We're being joined briefly by Iggy, the little girl cat. One of the most troubling trends that I see is that what one person won't do, another person will. And that's something to keep an eye on when it comes to, the next however many years we're going to be faced with people in charge who want to make this country not a democracy, but something else. And when one person says, we'll deny you access if you do this, because there's going to be somebody who'll do it, right? And so that's how we got where we are with the NFL. What one city won't do to its taxpayers, another city will do.
And LA kind of had it set up because they have that new stadium coming in. Yeah. And they're like, well, we'll just do what the Jets and Giants did.
The funny thing about that is LA didn't even sustain the one team this year. The ratings and the attendance. The ratings and the attendance and everything was it's not sustainable. It's not going to be sustainable. So we'll see how long this poaching of riches lasts.
And it's kind of insane to look at these franchises in the NFL that have moved like multiple times. Like the Raiders were the Oakland Raiders and the LA Raiders and the Oakland Raiders, and apparently they're going to be the Vegas Raiders. I mean, they have talk about having like diehard fans. I mean, San Diego, they aren't as well known because they don't put spikes in their shoulders like the Raiders fans do, and they didn't have that history. But the fans had, 51 years. I mean, that's got to be pretty close to the longest the team's been in a city, and they're just like, yeah, you're out. You're finished.
Yeah.
Wow, Over It Nah is going to be really, really uplifting today. Over It or Nah, I did write it. It's my fault. That's the theme of tonight's show. It's my fault. Over It or Nah, Roger Goodell coming back to Atlanta this week. If you know the story, basically Goodell
I don't know the story.
came to the Falcons game last week, and then this week everybody was like, well, he'll go to see the yeah, it's so funny. He's going back to Atlanta to see the Falcons game.
Yes, okay. I'm sorry, yes. Roger Goodell doesn't enjoy a very good presence right now with a lot of fan bases, but it's impossible to imagine any other fan base that hates him more than the Patriot fan base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I'm going to have to sympathize with him on that. I don't think I would go either.
No. I mean, I was actually feeling bad for a Cowboys fan last week, and I've always hated the Cowboys. I know you have your Cowboy history, but I would almost want the Patriots to win just to see them shake hands with Goodell and him to pretend like he's happy. But hey, he's like, yeah, pretend to make $1 a year, I make $40 million. You guys can go after yourselves. Why isn't he on the damn cabinet? I mean, he seems like he has the correct moral fiber. Although he actually knows what he's talking about one subject, so he's not qualified.
You know he was a Trump supporter. You know it.
It's like supporter versus well, this is what it's going to lead to. Then I'd say yes, but actual supporter, I don't know if there's even one of those to be.
Wouldn't you love to know whether Tom and Giselle voted for?
Giselle slammed him down when he even came close to talking about politics. If you're a professional athlete and you want to make big bucks, you are apolitical. You don't say a damn word. You see Peyton talking about politics? Well, he's a little bit in the background. He's still around. I'm sure we'll see him in at least 2 to 5 commercials in the Super Bowl. Okay, Over It or Nah. Block Talk limiting you to 15 minutes. That's what I heard. What's happening? What are they doing to you?
Oh, yeah, that happened, but it was because what happened? Something weird happened, but then I uploaded I had to construct the show. I forget something happened with the original feed. And so I had to create a new one, and I went completely live, and it only gave me 15 minutes. So then I had to construct it. But we were going to do a show last week. I told you guys I'm working on something new, but I didn't feel good last Wednesday night. I don't know if I said anything on the show. Last Wednesday I didn't feel good at all, and by Thursday I was ill. And so I was sick. Thursday, I didn't really start to feel better until I felt a little bit better Saturday, and I really started to feel better Sunday. But to make a long story short, we didn't do a podcast on Friday because I was just simply sick. So.
Do you often feel ill the day after doing a show with me, or is this just a one-time thing?
No, this was something else, and it's fine. And it was just a thing where you were like, "This too shall pass." And I'm gonna burp. Sorry, when I drink beer, I belch. Excuse me.
I got the old mute button just for that.
Girls burp.
You gotta let it all out.
Just deal with it. So apologies to Robin Monday, who is going to do the podcast with me, and I need to get back with her and schedule something. It was I started feeling better, a lot better Sunday, and then today's Wednesday, and today's really the first day that I've been active and back on. About really working and doing stuff. And of course, if you call being on Twitter and tweeting insults or whatever,
yes.
Sort of, everything is with love. I'm just here to spread love.
It's the new. That's how we talk about stuff now. Tweets.
Yeah.
Tweets are the way.
So anyway, what was the question? I forget. Oh, the 15-minute thing. So yeah. So the next time it should be fine. We'll set the show up and set it up for however long and all of that. But we are going to do shorter podcasts this year when we finally do get back to it, which hopefully will be soon. I have not stopped. I really was looking forward to doing a podcast last week, and I was supposed to sit down with my buddy Matt this week too, and I need to get with him and Robin both and get back to it. You know, it's well, we'll talk about all that I'll share all the story and everything on the podcast. I want to clog this show up, but yeah, but that was, Blog Talk always likes to fuck with me. Pardon my French.
I know people still use Blog Talk Radio. I'm impressed it's still around.
There's not much there. I mean, there aren't. We do. Of course, we're YouTube Live now, but it's still a Google Hangout format. I mean, there's this and but there's not that many options.
I feel like there are a few recording options, but those are people who edit audio. I don't do that. I just put it on and let it go. So a couple weeks ago, I made a blog post about bombers and about how sometimes that might be a bit too much. And then last weekend ended up having like 5 bombers in 2 days, and I feel like that kind of stuck with the theme. It was good. But when you're coming over to Don Funk's house, and that's right, I just said Don's name for the first time 49 minutes in, you have to bring your A game. Mm-hmm. So to Don's house for the double feature, while the ladies went out and saw a movie.
What movie?
What's the one about the women who did the math for the moon thing?
Yes.
Hidden Figures, yeah.
That movie, I want to see that. It's been amazing at the box office.
She made a joke that they were going to see Hidden Fences, which is kind of like the in-joke about, we saw them, the 2 Oscar possibly nominated movie with mainly black cast. But no, it's Hidden Figures and Fences. They're 2 separate movies. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I brought a beer I'd purchased a while back called Morning Wood Maple Bacon Coffee Porter. And it was about as close as I got to that Bourbon County beer. Really creamy, really good. Oddly, I liked it more than Dawn, even though it had a little bit of coffee in it. I mean, I think it was bacon porter aged in like bourbon barrels that had maple syrup in them. But, sweet beer, dark, dangerous, delicious, all good stuff. The second beer we had was the Ode to Mercy Winter, which is basically a brown ale with coffee, but it's aged with bourbon chips.
That.
And that one Don liked. Although after the first beer, because it was so thick, this was a lot thinner. Yeah. I didn't like it as much, but Don liked it more, which hopefully it meant he drank more. But I don't know if
that's one of the reasons why I like this. I know you're not a fan of triples, but it's not, not. I like stouts and porters. You guys know that. I'm a fan of, of the heavy stuff, but you just can't drink a lot of it. And so this is nice. I've been trying to, the light's not all that good in here. I've been trying to figure out what the alcohol content is. I'll have to.
You can't, but I'm sure triples probably up there.
I think it is. It should be pretty good, which, I like that.
And then we finished up with the 3 Philosophers, because I got that 3-pack, the 2011, 2012, 2013. And we had the 2012, which is 5 years old and quite good. But it is the quad with just a little bit of cherry, nicely aged. But of course, you have bombers, and you end up waking up the next day a little bit of headache. Hard to believe.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
But I had a beer.
So you talked Don into drinking something other than wine. I'm impressed.
Well, he was drinking wine, and he had some of each bomber, but he didn't have a ton. It was mostly me. I'll admit it. Bring the bombers as an excuse.
What is in your hand?
This is the little thing that comes with the.
Okay,
iPhone.
I won't tell you what I thought that was.
It's floppy and white. Anyway.
I thought you were smoking a dick.
I don't know why, but I just have to have something in the hands while I'm doing a show.
I've been playing with this.
Sometimes it's the Titans beer opener. Probably less weird, phallic looking. But yeah, on Friday, I opened a beer that I hadn't had for a while. I got it when I got the bourbon barrel. And there's a brewery in Nashville called Yazoo, and they have a series called Embrace the Funk.
Fantastic brewery, by the way. Fantastic.
And Embrace the Funk. Because funky beers, I'm more of a sour, but it was basically a cherry wild ale. And I had it Friday night. And I realized when I opened it that it was a lot of beer for that night. But I just was like, I want to have it. And I'm watching Netflix and, having a good time. And it was a tasty one. And next time I get to Nashville, I'll have to get one. I had to get
now here. Okay, so we may not be able to make it work because you and Allison are very busy people on this next visit to Nashville. But at some point when you come to Nashville, and hopefully Allison and I will get to meet someday soon. And I'm gonna, if you'll allow me, I'm gonna try and come up next week. But anyway, we need to do a Gerst House run. Have you been to the Gerst House yet?
Is that the one that's really close to the stadium?
Yes.
Did we walk past it on opening day? Because I feel like it's right there. And it's like a German place.
Yes.
It's an old brewery that got
where you do the chicken dance.
Done. Well, I mean, doing it right now. Triple the fun right there. So, yeah.
It's fun. We've got to do it. The big leaded beer glasses that I use occasionally.
The ones the cats have not destroyed yet?
They don't get access to those. I still have we do not allow footed wine glasses in the house anymore because now Iggy, the little cat that jumped up, has entered the destruction scene and is a destructive. Yes, I'm talking about you. She's looking at me like you said my name.
What I do?
So we have 2 climbers and 1 too fat to do anything except get into stuff around on the floor, which he does very well. So it's like a constant, battle to maintain order, losing battle to maintain order, but they're precious. Yes, I'm talking about you guys.
So if it ends up being Packers Patriots as you predict, I should look at the point spread, see who's actually. I know the Patriots are favored, but I'm not sure if the Falcons are.
I would think.
Would you root for double check or Tom Brady?
I respect the Pats and what they have done, but Green Bay has for a long time been, kind of my second team, my NFC team. Well, I like the Panthers too. They were not very good.
Yeah, seriously, you drop a team like nothing, huh? Yeah, I love you last year. You're like, oh, I love you, Panthers. You're the best. I'm gonna go see you in the championship. This game, you're like, who?
I didn't drop.
I'm not dabbing. I'm not wearing Cam Newton's post-game outfits.
Can I talk, please?
Sure. Once.
I didn't drop them. They just did some things that I didn't understand. Just like head scratching stuff. And so we'll see how they do this year. I was surprised. Listen, I picked them to go back to the Super Bowl again, and I didn't expect them to be. I watched their season with dismay, and I was like, "How? I don't understand." It's not just losing Josh Norman. So anyway, we'll see how that goes. But I really like the Packers, and I'm a big Aaron Rodgers fan, and I can't think of a Packer that I don't like, and so I'm not a big Clay Matthews fan, but I will probably between Patriots, Steelers, I'm rooting for chaos. I want something crazy to happen. But I'll probably root for the Packers. I'll admit it.
Well, even with family from
I've got an Aaron Rodgers jersey that is in pristine condition in my closet. Of course, I also have a Ben Roethlisberger from back in the day when I liked him.
Yeah, I think the first or second time they went to the Super Bowl, I asked family in Pittsburgh for a jersey, and I ended up getting 3. No. Sometime around the second or third time, he was accused of sexual inappropriate stuff. I just ended up tossing them, so I don't have anything. I have a terrible towel, which I infamously wore one week, but other than that, I have pretty much nothing
For a long time, I worried about what to do. Should I burn it? What should I? Which just seemed like a waste. And so anyway, it's hanging in my closet.
It's there.
I don't even have a Marcus. The Aaron Rodgers jersey was given to me by my best friend, one of my best friends, who is a huge Green Bay fan, and so it's got sentimental value too. I haven't bought a jersey for me personally. I haven't bought a jersey. I guess my Randy Moss jersey, my Titans Randy Moss jersey.
It's a classic.
Yeah, I think it was my last jersey. So anyway, I would wear a Marcus Mariota. Did I say Marcus Mariota? Marcus Mariota. Right? You did it by bringing Mark Mariota up. He wasn't as bad.
You could get an Andre Johnson one real cheap. You like those old fork in the back
felt bad.
receivers.
I felt sorry for Andre Johnson because, it's hard to leave the game, whatever game it is you're playing, whatever you're doing, and it's hard to walk away from something that you've done for a long time. And believe me, I know. And I felt so sorry for him, but his heart was in Houston, and I respect that. I respect that he was like, it's not the same, playing for another team. And I have nothing but good things to say about Andre Johnson and his time here, and I wish him the best.
I think it'd be awesome if he signed with the Jaguars this offseason.
No, he won't.
All 4 teams in the South in 4 years.
He retired.
Guys say they retired. He probably shouldn't be retired. But you should also love Andre Johnson because him retiring, somehow Rashard Matthews ended up on all your fantasy teams and actually played for Homerism pays.
Okay, I have a confession time. All right, because I have not shared this with anybody. So I'm going to tell on myself a little bit. I was hoping to do this with Scott Fish being here and helping make me feel better. Hopefully, he probably will clown me for it. So I told you guys I'm playing in this playoff. I have been playing. I haven't checked the results this past weekend. So, one of the leagues is a 2-and-done playoff league, and the other one is a 1-and-done playoff league. And I signed up. It sounded fun. I signed up. I might not have known exactly what I was doing because I went to set my rosters this weekend, and so I was like, wait, I can't. Where's that guy? Where's that guy? And so, see, I thought it was like you lose a game or you lose 2 games and you're out, but it's players. You can only play, like in the 1-and-done, you can only play a player once, and in the 2-and-done, you can only play them twice. So I did not know this. I thought it was something completely different. So I'm trying to set my roster, and I'm like, okay? So I sent one of the guys who organized. He must think I'm the biggest idiot in the world, which I am. Okay. So I sent him an email, and I was like, so I'm guessing. And he was like, yes, that's correct. He was probably like, this stupid bitch, what's she talking about? So I was like, okay. So I don't know that I would have done anything differently, but probably not, because, I just wanted to win. Oh, I might have. I don't know. So yeah, here I am playing in these 2 playoff challenge leagues, and I have no idea what I'm doing, but I scored the most points the first week. In fact, let me pull them up and see.
Yeah, I was like, you didn't even check? I can't believe it.
No, I said I was not feeling well at all over the weekend. And so I was lucky that I set my, 2-and-done. Let me see this one.
Scott Fish started a playoff league this year. And one of the rules, I didn't even get in, I probably should have, was you just...
No, I did not score very many.
You could only play a player once, and I think he's going to do that this year.
I was in the bottom.
Do a fantasy league where you can play any player in the NFL, but you only get to play
Oh, that's preliminary results. I'm sorry.
Preliminary. It's preliminary.
I was like, boy, I really stunk. I still didn't do all that good. No, wait. I was middle of the pack in the other one. The top producer, 250 points. Let me see. I scored. Hold on. Let me find it. I don't have my glasses. 163 points. So I was like 100 points behind the leader. And let's see. NFL Playoff Challenge, Week 19 results. $146. I was only 20 points behind the leader. I came in, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I was 12th in that one. So yeah, there's my tell on myself story.
Yeah, way to go.
You
play, you play to win.
Yeah, I don't know.
You win or you don't.
I was trying to think. Again, I was not feeling good at all on Saturday, and I was supposed to go see. I was supposed to be with my sister and her family, and I just was sick. I was very, very, very not good, and so I just wanted to get my roster set. I was like, I don't want to mess this up. I want to set my rosters, and then when I found out, I was like, there's probably a strategy here, and I just want to win. And so I was like picking guys, trying to win. So this week and it was already a challenge. What are you doing?
Kitties are like, it's time for some attention.
In addition to destroying wine glasses, they also love to destroy my glasses.
Was Peyton calling you?
Yes, that was Peyton calling me. Okay. So anyway, so yeah, I don't know if I've ever played in one of these kinds of playoff leagues. If I did, I didn't remember that that's what it was called, and so I'm sure there's a strategy. Excuse me, pardon me. I'm sure there's some sort of strategy, but anyway, we'll see. Now this is where it gets interesting. This weekend is where it gets interesting, so we'll see.
Well, I just know with those playoff leagues where you kind of set your lineup at the beginning, you have to pick. You just have to say, "Oh, wait, who's winning?" Basically, and then you see a team win. I think last year a lot of people picked like Seattle to go pretty far, and they only won one game. Not a lot of people picked Carolina, oddly enough, but I'm sure this year was mainly. It was a lot of Dallas and Green Bay, and of course, the future Super Bowl champion New England Patriots. Oh boy, man! I thought it would never happen again in my lifetime, but it has. So we've about reached the point now. We hope and double hope that Scott will join us next week. I got some quality questions to ask him, especially about Derrick Henry's footwork for next week's show. So we hope we can get him on to talk about all the crazy leagues he does.
Yeah.
And all the good stuff he does too.
He really does.
Community. I mean, you have to have a good amount of just like selfless people to keep an industry going, and people just going, "Oh, I have a good feeling about doing this," and that's Scott in fantasy football.
Scott's a good guy.
See, we're talking good about you, Scott, even though you're probably drunk in Minnesota right now going, Gary Anderson, why? Gary Anderson, no, too soon.
Scott is one of the good guys. There's no doubt.
That was the first time I lived in Atlanta, and I invited all my friends over, and one guy showed up for that Atlanta Falcons Minnesota game. And I don't know what Sharona's up to, but it's...
I was trying to grab a cat to put a cat.
Yeah, good luck.
They're all circling me, so it's like,
we have her outnumbered. We can do it at once.
They really do, and they're up to something because they're circling me, and I'm not fooled by their rubbing against my legs, little attempt to lull me into a sense of security.
Yeah, I understand. But I will do better, and I will send my official by them. I'll be like Kirk Cousins, who schedules his life down to the 15 minutes, and send you that schedule for next Thursday and Friday, and then you can decide. decide.
Well, just let me know when would be good, and I'll
Or
see
we
if I
just
can
say,
make
hey,
it.
National Predators game sometime in the future. Go see it. Pick a weekend. Anyway, something like that. We'll make it happen. I owe you beer, and the beer will be coming your way.
Okay.
So get back, talk Sharona back. Come on.
I
I
know.
need some
I
quality listening.
I promise we are coming back, and today was like legitimately the first day that I've been like, just I feel good. I feel so so definitely and there's certainly a lot of material.
Truly. Well, it's good people out there to talk to you about it.
Yes.
So sports by Sharona and Zach _ Law for me. And thank you for listening. And good night and kiss my grits.